The Central Bank of Nigeria says it will pay 20 billion naira as foreign exchange rebate to eligible non-oil exporters for the second quarter of the year under the race to $200 billion in FX repatriation scheme. I have with me Bamidele Ayemibo, an expert consultant. He joins me as we discuss this and more. Thank you so much for your time today, Bamidele. Listen to Ebenezer, they're talking about how Nigeria needs to be driving the AFCFTA. We're looking at measures which the central bank is putting in place to make trade work and all the moving parts to get together. And one of this is this race to $200 billion FX repatriation program. And I'd like to get your take on this scheme so far.
I think the scheme is a step in the right direction, even though it's been heavily criticized by a number of people in the industry because they feel it's not supposed to be CBN work to do. But I mean, if the physical people in the physical side are supposed to be doing it and they are not doing it, and CBN in the bid to generate foreign exchange come up with initiative, for me, I think it's a welcome development. I think it's a step in the right direction. My fear at the time immediately CBN announced this program was the implementation. And true to it, at least I can see the implementation of at least 2 of them already. Out of the 5 pillars, the biannual event, the first one has happened. The scheme, the rebate scheme, they've given the 3.5, the first one. The second quarter now had about 20 billion is being released. So CBN seems to be true to its words. What I'm expecting also to see is the building of terminals to be able to facilitate export, and of course, giving loans to primary producers of raw materials and those that want to add value to be able to expand the production base and be able to increase the non-export sector of Nigeria. All in all, I think it's a step in the right direction. And according to CBN governor, they have the data. I think we are making some progress.
Yeah, a step in the right direction, you say, but there's still quite a lot of structural problems to address here and there to make this work.
Very correct. Very correct. You know, but my take on this matter is we can't wait for all those structures to be fixed for us to be able to do what we need to do. If we have to wait, we'll probably wait forever, because I'm not sure the politicians really have our time right now, considering the fact that the election is around the corner. So we really cannot wait for them, and something has to start, which is exactly what CBN is trying to do. For me, like I said earlier, I think this implementation is the major issue right now. Look at this. You know, we need to also understand the fact that there are we are already exporting some of these products, by the way. A number of them are already being exported. So it's not like we are not. What I think CBN is trying to do is, can we encourage people to do more so that at the end of it, we can generate more foreign exchange? Let me give an example. You know, because of the wide gap between the parallel market rate and the CBN rate, a lot of people they don't want to bring back the foreign exchange. Sometimes they will under invoice, so they will bring part of it and not bring the total. With what CBN is doing now, a lot of people have been encouraged to want to bring it back, because you know, if you bring it back and you have evidence you have brought it back, CBN is going to give you an additional incentive, which should cushion the structural issue you talk about, the infrastructural deficit increase leading to increase in cost of production you talk about. So I think for me, it's a step in the right direction. We should just see how we can ensure they implement this in a manner that the people that need to get it are getting it. At the end of the day, encouraged to do the export. And more importantly, not to leave the SME out. Not to leave the SME out in this.
Yeah, because SMEs are very critical when you talk about how we're going to strategize in terms of boosting trade for the continent and getting those volumes up. But there's still quite a number of barriers to trade at the end of the day when you look at this year. Yesterday, Aliko Dangote and quite a number of other people who spoke yesterday talked about one of the key issues there, and that's the issue around charges at the ports and also the long processing times, more or less. And it brings that conversation around, let exporters have different procedures, more or less, to when it comes to how the customs address their issues.
So now, you're very correct, but the issue I want us to look at, the way I want us to look at it is, even though those challenges are there, what this incentive is supposed to do is to be able to ameliorate those challenges. So that's why I now mentioned the SME. You know, the way it was done, in my opinion, I think the program is designed in a way that it favors more the big guys. That's the challenge I'm having. It's not trickling down on the SME to be able to benefit from it. And the reason why I say that is because, you remember, I think we were there yesterday when someone was talking about redefining the concept of value addition. That if you say value addition is only to a product that is, if you say some product, for example, because I've added some level of value, For example, someone talk about ginger to dry split ginger. It's still at the raw state, but it has been experienced some value addition to a large extent because of the cost of bringing it from that point, and the price has actually gone up. So even if CDN is not going to give them 65 naira, I think giving them something as incentive make a lot of sense. Because at the end of the day, what are we looking for? We're looking for foreign exchange. So if the people within that in that space are able to be encouraged to be able to do more, at the end of the day, it's going to encourage them to be able to bring in the foreign exchange that CBN is talking about. And then to encourage a situation in which the SME, now, a number of SME have challenges in securing market. They have challenges in being able to also get the right bargaining in the export market. So I'm expecting that CBN should come out and support in this regard. For example, some organizations have consultants they pay and that help their businesses abroad in securing market. And they can do that for a year, paying those consultants, securing those markets. After 1 year, these businesses that now have that market can begin to pay the consultant for subsequent services. Those are the kind of things I would like to see that CBN is doing. Also, you need to understand the fact that the volume of the number of exporters in Nigeria is very low. In 2016, exporters in Nigeria was just about 7 to 800 not registered, active exporter. Active exporters last year was about 1,500. Now, if we are going to achieve 200 billion in 5 years, that means we have to do 40 billion in 1 year. If you are doing 40 billion in 1 year, if we spread it across the number of exporters, how much is an exporter expected to in average? The more the number of exporters we have, the more the average and exporter need to ship to be able to achieve CBN objectives. So I think those are the conversations we need to be having to see how do we bring in importers looking for forex to begin to export. If an exporter, for example, is importing battery, he can export lead ore to the country that is producing battery for him. What that means basically is that we can have a situation in which, because it's easier for him, and he has naira looking for dollar, queuing up for months to get effect. Those are the people we need to organize event and program for, bringing them in, giving them the necessary support and information to be able to. So we need to bring more people in. I have not seen that happening. I'm not seeing CBN talking about that. I'm not seeing the bank talking about that. It seems to me like the focus is on the big guys and it's leaving SME out.